So in my business, when I'm sourcing gemstones, there's often fillers in these gemstones, and some are natural and some are synthetic. And the reason why they do that, even if we take like emeralds, for example, is because they come with so many inclusions that in order to enhance the stone and prevent cracking and yeah, just preserve it over time, they'll use either like an oil filler or a resin, a polymer resin to fill those cracks. So that way it helps bring up the value of the stone, the longevity. I just find that so interesting, in the gem world and then thinking about like the beauty world.
Wow, I didn't know. Just not to cut you off, I didn't know that they did that to
Emeralds.
stones. MRS, yeah. And is it easy to detect being in this business?
Yeah, no. So I think to the consumer, it's pretty hard for them to see. And that's where there can be a lot of dupes and a lot of like misleading, information out there because, yeah, it's making the emerald look beautiful. And therefore, if the merchant that's selling it to you is not like doing right by you, they could sell it for a higher price because technically it does look better,
Yes,
but
yes.
then as the consumer, you're not knowing and then you're spending all this money,
I know. It's kind of like in the beauty business as well. It's like when you think about in cosmetics, we in the Seek of Youth we do have uh, fillers,
Mhm.
and are they great? Are they bad? That's not my place to judge. But in the seeking staying young, I would recommend personally to go to the more natural ones
Right.
because we do have like hyaluronic acid. We have substances that are less dangerous than the synthetic ones
Right.
in the long run.
Absolutely.
Even if it's a quick fix and you want to stay young and plump your skin and have that extra volume and that great texture and wrinkle free texture. So that's what I think about that.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think that's what it is, right? People are always looking for a quick fix. And so even like back to the gemstones, it's
Yeah.
like they want to save that gemstone. They want to kind of get the most out of it quickly so that way they can sell it, they can get a turnover.
Wow.
Like,
Do they have transparency, like in the sense of like,
some that's why you got to trust who you're buying from because yeah, if you're just at some market and everything's moving quickly, and people are trying to sell you something, I definitely wouldn't trust that. What I do with my business is mostly everything's GIA certified or if not certified at, another leading laboratory. As well as I went to school at the GIA, so I know how to detect those things. So when I'm buying the stones, I'm looking at them, because it's huge. Yeah. I mean, I can't even tell you how many clients have brought me stones that they bought on like Etsy or wherever, or they just like go travel to, another country and they were thinking they found this really cool stone and some of them have.
great deal?
Yeah,
It's
great
not
deal,
a
right?
great deal. But it's not,
It's not a great
well,
deal.
that's why I love buying jewelry and stones from you, for myself, for my daughter, for my friends, and that's where the whole friendship
Right.
started.
Right.
Being your customer.
Absolutely.
I love that.
Yeah. No, I appreciate that. Yeah. I think transparency is key. You got to
Yes.
find someone who you trust, who you know is going to do right by you,
Yeah.
and then from there, I feel like you're at a good baseline. But yeah, there's these extra steps that you can go through, like the certificates and all these things to really be able to check them
Absolutely.
out
Absolutely.
for sure.
We have the same thing also for in the beauty industry. It's like you have to have that opportunity to test your products and also get the right certificates. And what a joy to have a product. It's like even as a consumer myself, like I'm reading, the ingredients, and it's so great to see that I can actually see and read all
Right.
the ingredients, and you have that pride and joy of having the cruelty free and the organic sign and everything. It's like you customers are the consumer today, they are so aware and they know what they're buying and they can't be duped anymore.
Right.
Now,
Right.
and hiding certain chemicals or synthetics in the beauty industry that are something fancy or a number or something, especially when it comes to the perfume, in the fragrance business, it's over.
Yeah.
People know what they're buying.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah, totally. I've heard about that. Well, even with, because, you're making candles.
Yeah.
Isn't that the same with some of the fragrances or the
Absolutely, absolutely. We try. It's like we don't use um essential oils. Essential oils, I feel they burn in not they great as they are, but they do burn in they're not good for such heat. So we do use 100% organic soy.
okay.
We use all natural plant based extract
Mm, okay.
to have our fragrance. That's what Metamorphose New York is all about.
Right.
Everything is natural. Everything is thought over
Hmm.
that it doesn't irritate the skin. Of course, you can have our candle and you light it in a like in a night now normal setting, and
Right.
it will absorb all the bad odor
Oh.
around you from your ceramic. It's like I love lighting it when I'm cooking, for example. So it keeps the room fresh, but at the same time, the chemicals, the fumes that come from the candle are not poisons.
Not toxic.
They're not toxic. You don't want to have something toxic that interrupt something in your hormones, skin, irritate the skin. And you can also use our candle as a massage oil and as a lotion as well.
Wow.
Because it's all natural.
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. So then that really does that. Yeah, that's huge. Yeah, because I know with candles, sometimes you're burning them for hours on end and you don't really think about those like long-term effects of like breathing it in.
Yeah.
I feel like nowadays people are starting to become, like you say, more aware about that because even being in like the inner city, we're worried about the pollution and all these things. But then you think your home's like a sanctuary, but then you're lighting some toxic candle, like it's a cheap one, and you're not really running from it. You're just, now you're living in it.
Exactly. All right. So we take pride and like that we are sourcing from places we know. We purify our oils in cold press. We don't boil them. We don't remove the goodness. Like the
So it keeps all the nutrients.
it's all the nutrients are there. I'm a terrible person to explain, but we are 100% transparent when it comes to our ingredients.
Right.
I want people to know what's inside our box.
Right. Right. Yeah. And like it's so important for something that's literally going to be lit in your house for hours on end that you're going to be breathing and you're going to be, buying again and maybe gifting to
friends, to people you love. It's not about, sharing the gift or, like it's love. Sharing it with your family, with your friends. You're also your best. Like, you don't even want to hurt your little cat and the dog. With this fuse.
Yeah, it's so crazy, all the things that we have to think about.
Yes. We have to protect ourselves as much as we can. It's like there's certain things that out of our control.
Right.
But if we can control our home and our like close by environment,
right.
It helps. Having a cautious
100%. Yeah, cautious consumer and then brands that care, because of course it's easy to go buy like a cheap candle, whatever, quickly, or maybe it's not even a cheap candle though. Maybe it's a freaking expensive candle, but the brand just doesn't care.
Exactly.
That's like back to the emeralds, it could be like a expensive emerald, but if they don't know that it's filled or it has this and that, and it's okay for the consumer to buy that, as long as they know they do have to be more careful. They know that it's like not, as pure, but same with these other products that you got to start with just being transparent and being real about it.
Absolutely. Oh, the other day I was watching one of the posts you have in human design in your brand, which I love. I'm a customer. I love your brand about pearls and stones and hydration.
Right. Yes.
What can you tell us about that? What can you tell us about that? How do I look after my pearls?
Right.
My natural pearls. How do I look after my stones?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, you do want to clean stones and keep them protected as well as your gold and your silver and any other like precious metal. But the thing is, especially with pearls, and it could be so confusing because they come out of the water.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So they're coming out of the water.
Yes.
And you're thinking like, why can they not get wet now? Right?
That's true.
So if they're in the water, why can't they get wet? But the thing is that they're like highly fragile. And even with the sunlight, in addition to the water, once they're out of the mollusk, and, they're used in jewelry or whatever they're going to be used for outside of the ocean or the rivers or the lakes. They are highly fragile. Like there's a nacre around the actual pearl, and that's the part that has like the luster and it's protecting like the nucleus that's in the center. So there's like a little nucleus in the center, which is typically, if it's a natural pearl, it's going to be just like a random irritant, like a grain of sand or a snail or something gets in the mollusk. That's the natural way. And then over time, there's this like secretion from the mollusk, whether it's a clam or an oyster or whatever, a mussel. And that's going to build that layer around that irritant. So that's what you're seeing what the pearl is. And then it's going to have that like luster, that shine around it too, that comes from the mother of pearl. But so you're trying to preserve that because the pearl is not 100% that. People think that, oh, this whole pearl is like fully solid of one material just looking from the outside, but it's not. It's layers and layers and layers of this nacre that's around that nucleus or that irritant. And the nucleus is for cultured pearls. So instead of an irritant getting in there, it's an actual like round nucleus that they put inside, which is
control the shape.
Exactly.
Wow.
And that's carved from the mother of pearl on the inside as well. Or sometimes like other things, like they've experimented with like wood or other materials that they formed in like a round shape or a heart or whatever they want it to be. And when they insert that in, and then that nacre will still form. So yeah, you're trying to preserve that outer layer. So it is highly fragile.
So how would I do it? Like
Yeah.
a simple person who has a pearl necklace and it's all natural.
Right.
What do I do? Do I wash it with a cloth? Do I shower with it? Do I take my bath with it? Do I go and swim with it? So to take it back home.
Yeah. Take it back. Yeah.
Take it. That's I do.
Yeah, absolutely. So you definitely don't want to swim and shower in it if you want to preserve the pearl for a long time. Yeah. It's not to say that it can't get wet here and there, but it just kind of all depends on what your goal is. If you bought a very, very expensive, like nearly round, Akoya pearl or Tahitian pearl, and it's just highly valued and you spend a lot of money on it, then you're probably just going to want to be naturally more cautious, just as you would be if you bought an expensive car. Or
can I trade it with my oil? You like my skin, like because I work in a natural oil, like a dry oil, which is not greasy, but at the same time, would that be safe?
So the natural oils from your body is actually nice to kind of help give it like a nice protectant barrier because pearls are a little bit more porous, so they do absorb. But that's kind of the cool thing about your products is, and this is kind of how it all ties together.
Yes.
Because like we're wearing jewelry, right? Like a pearl necklace. But again, if I'm putting bad products on my skin,
oh my God,
it's gonna ruin the pearl necklace.
Oh, I didn't think of it this way.
I
didn't think of it this way. It's
actually, you kind of just have to be like, if you're buying high quality products in general, they literally, it's like an ecosystem. They go all hand in hand, from like the home to the jewelry to the skincare. Because like if your candles, you can use them as a massage oil.
Yes.
Your natural body oils are great.
Yes.
But then if the oil you're putting on your body is natural and clean, then that also helps. But you don't want that buildup as well, even if it is, a nice organic, product, still like if you're putting that on every single day and, you do kind of want to wipe the pearl down. So like, long story short, you want to just take like a damp cloth and you wet the cloth, but just kind of go over the pearl, and then but you want to dry it fully. So you really want it to dry out.
So basically we need to treat our jewelry, especially the pearls, which I'm madly in love with for the past couple of years.
Right.
So we need to look after them like we look after our skin.
Absolutely.
So when it comes to hydration, what about protection? What about the sun?
Yeah, the sun's another one. For prolonged periods of time, it can affect the luster. So with pearls, it's not going to affect it from like cracking, like an emerald. If an emerald's out in kind of intense sunlight, those. So I guess with the sunlight, and this is where, I still need a little bit of educating. Like there's the UV rays, but there's like long wave and the short wave. And I think the long wave, if I'm not mistaken, is okay. It's a little bit better, but the short wave is the one that can like burn our skin. And that's the one that's, coming from the sun. So if you're going to be out, especially in areas that are more like close to the equator,
Yeah.
where the
God.
sun is intense, like
Yes.
even being, from Hawaii, it's you go out there for
The Middle East is a bit
Right.
there's
Right. Right. So we both know, we
Yeah.
all know exactly
Yes,
what
yes.
that's like. So yeah, you definitely got to be careful with that. And I think, yeah, I don't think a lot of people know that. But you don't want to be taking off your jewelry. But I know a lot of girls, like when I think about Hawaii, like they're layered in pearls, but then they're on the beach like this all day. So, it just,
You want to show
I know, you want to show them off.
fresh.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's where I just feel like it kind of depends on like you just as a consumer, you have to know what you're buying. You have to be well informed. And then I would just recommend that, if you're buying something super expensive, have that be your piece that you really take care of. You're really, just wearing it on occasion, you're wiping it, you're storing it, you're cleaning it correctly.
Absolutely.
But then have maybe a little bit more of an inexpensive pearl piece that, you just know. Yeah, you just know, because I mean, that's going to be tough, right? If you really want to wear it, you know what I mean? So I think it's hard. It's hard,
Well, the thing is, when it comes to the sun, it's like even when you hydrating, no matter what you're wearing, you have to be very cautious of how long
Right.
you stay, like outside in the sun, and UV light is not good for you.
Right.
We all know that.
Yeah.
And thank God, there are some natural ways. Where I'm from, oil is not dangerous. It depends on what kind of oils. Like you can be using grapes, seed oil or carrot seed oil, and those ones are a natural protector for the skin. But whatever it is, it can never replace the good method. Like you have to go and get a good SPF, SPF cream and protect your skin.
I know some people that they'll like go to the beach and they'll put like coconut oil around.
Oh my God.
So that's like worse, right?
Oh my God. Oh my God. I mean, there's benefits, but not with direct exposure of the light. I would use my oil afterwards.
Right.
Or I will wear my oil like I do. Like what I do is like I will shower, I'll wake up in the morning, I use my oil, but then I have to make sure I have a good sun protection on top of my whatever products I'm using.
Right. No, for sure. Yeah. So yeah, the UV rays, we know skincare, no good.
Yeah.
Gemstones,
No
good.
No good.
But the one thing, and there's something I want to show you that's pretty interesting in like the gem world and my world, where the UV light is highly helpful for detecting certain things in gemstones, like a fluorescence in a gemstone. So like for instance, I brought some rubies. I love natural ruby, but let's say we were in a market or we were wherever, let's say we're traveling abroad, or I don't know, maybe we're just down in the diamond district and we want to buy some rubies, but we don't know if they're real or not.
Yes.
What we do is we actually take a UV light.
Oh my God.
So I have a UV light here, and let's see if it'll just work through the case. I'm sure it'll be fine. It'll actually glow.
Oh my God.
You see how bright red that is?
Oh my God, that's gorgeous.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
It's amazing.
So you see, but then here, how bright, that's how you know.
So the brighter the color,
the more fluorescence the stone has. So in the sake of the ruby, we just want it to fluoresce like that and get like kind of have that red glow.
Yes.
That's a great sign, an indicator that it is a real ruby. But with diamonds, when you hit it with the UV light and it fluoresces, that's how you're going to tell like how much. So the diamonds, they get treated with boron, which essentially makes it look a little blue. And that's what will have that fluorescent color. But it's like subtle and can vary depending. That's why like with the GIA report, it'll tell you how much fluorescence it has when they look at it with the UV lamp.
And what does that change when it comes to the quality and pricing?
So for rubies, you definitely want it to glow. So like now that we know that it's real, like that's going to be an expensive ruby and be high quality. But with the diamonds, to the naked eye, having a little bit of that fluorescence almost can make it appear brighter. Cause like if you think about like a nice, like clean looking diamond, some can have a little yellow, some can have that little bit of blue. And like typically when we see that yellow, it might look like a little like dingy, you know what I mean? Like if you want a yellow diamond, then that's beautiful, right? And then you're looking for that intense yellow. But in the diamond, if it has just like an undertone of a little yellow, it's not going to be that crisp, clean look that you want out of like a nice eye clean diamond.
Gotcha.
So typically people will prefer a little bit more on the bluer side. That's why like in hospitals, there's like the kind of bluer light. It makes it seem more sterile and
Yes.
and bright, right?
Yes.
So it's kind of like that. But in terms of the pricing, so that's like the naked eye, like you would think like, oh, that looks like a bright diamond. But in terms of the value, like the more fluorescence it has, the cheaper the stone is. And it could be a way to get a good deal if you don't care as much. You know what I mean? Yeah, not everybody can afford like a super eye clean diamond with like the top specs of everything. So, it's kind of in the eye of the beholder. But like I say, like as long as you're informed, then it's totally fine. If you're not informed, that's
Exactly. Transparency with the
right.
consumer. That's
Right.
really important.
Right. Right.
Yeah. Oh my God. I have a lot of other topics to talk about.
Yeah.
What about so the testing? So when you're testing,
Mhm.
we have, like a different way of testing when it comes to product, beauty
Right.
products.
Right.
Is that the best way for you to test jewelry, stones?
So it just depends. Like for gemstones, as long as I mean, you could have went to school for, as a gemologist, or you could just be kind of self-taught. If you have the instruments and you know what to look for,
Yeah.
you can do it that way. At just a baseline, right? If you're just like needing to be educated to be able to make the right purchase, I think, that's good. And that's one of the things that I try to do is at least educate my clients like on just the basics, because whether they're buying from me or buying from someone else, I want them to kind of know and be informed as well on things to look out for. Because like even this, they can buy this on Amazon for whatever, $15. And it's actually a nice one, so it costs a little more, but you can get a cheap one. Boom. You want a ruby? See if it fluoresces, So
Absolutely.
same with the diamonds. So I think, just having that at a baseline. But yeah, the GIA, obviously, if you want to get them lab tested at the GIA, if they are an expensive stone, a big stone, a big purchase.
And who does the certification?
The GIA, yeah, the Gemological Institute of America. We have one right here in Manhattan, and then there's some in various areas of the world as
I
well.
love that.
But it's like the best of best. It's like the gold standard. But then there's other ones too that are good as well. But it's right here, and it's the best. And I'm always down there anyways, so why not? But then with gold, there's so many like at-home tests you can do. You could do like a scratch test. You could take it in to get tested as well. Well, they'll actually do like a full printout of like, it's this percentage of the gold, like 14 or 18. And then these are the other alloys that are mixed in. You can actually get a full-blown breakdown if you have those machines, which they're kind of costly, but you can go pay and get.
Why not? Why not? If that's something you're passionate about,
Right.
Yeah. To know. Yeah. Why not? And especially if it's your business or something you're considering. We do testing too. It's very important to have lab testing, especially when it comes to regarding the safety, the efficiency, and the stability of the products.
Right. Absolutely.
So yeah.
So yeah, you're testing for ingredients, but you're testing for like shelf life too.
Shelf life, and the efficiency of the product. For example, also we test for the hydration, the penetration of the product. How does it work with the skin in short term and long term?
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's very important. It's very important. Even if it's a natural product, it's good to have all that, and especially the allergic reaction, because not everybody will be okay with using, like even if it's a natural product, doesn't mean that.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
It can be allergic from coconut or literally.
Yeah.
So I've found a few of my clients are allergic to gold. It's extremely rare.
Yes.
But they literally cannot wear gold, even if it's like 24.
It's like me with silver.
Right.
I have allergy from silver. I feel maybe it's not allergy, like a full blown allergy, but I know when I wear silver jewelry, I heal less. I get infections. I will get like irritation.
Right.
So yeah,
All right. That makes sense.
yes.
Yeah, I was really, that makes sense for sure. I just was blown away about the gold. I kind of want to do a little bit more research about that, because I always recommend like having a more pure metal, if you are more sensitive. Yeah, and sometimes that kind of backfires. But to your point,
Exactly.
it's the same with
We never know. Yeah, you can have the best piece of jewelry or the best skin, 100% natural product, and that person has allergy from the ingredient itself. So yeah,
Right.
we can't help it. But going back to transparency
Yeah.
and mentioning everything and having pride on having those certificates
Yeah. Good
and
at it.
yeah, good ethics and also including that in the,
Right.
in your packaging
100%.
that website.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, I just got done shooting a video about like the gold hallmarks. So many of my clients, they have no clue. They bring me a ring. I'm like, who is that? 14-year-old. Oh, I have no clue. Okay. Well, do you know how to check the stamp, the hallmark to identify like what gold purity? So it's huge. But to your point, like for you, it's like the certificates on the packaging. And for me, it's like, I'm looking at those hallmarks. Like, what is this?
Wow, I didn't know that. And I'm gonna. We're done. I'm gonna bring everything. So that will teach me and tell me. Yeah, right.
Yeah, because like 14%, like 14 karat gold. The percentage of the gold is 58.5% gold.
Wow.
So like as you go up in the purities, like 24 karat gold is like the most pure. It's 99.9, if not 100%, right?
Yes.
And then
Would it make it soft though?
it does. Yeah, it does. But there's still, it depends where you're at, but culturally a lot of places
You have to be
they do love the 20, but yeah, they love it. It's got to be 24.
well, right in Dubai.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So they're still making jewelry and everything. It definitely makes it softer, but but then as you go down, that's when you're mixing in those other alloys. So that's where I wonder about, back to the lab testing. Like it would be really interesting to do like a full blown test on like different people on what the breakdown of those other alloys as you get down and see who's allergic to what. Because I think that's where it gets technical.
Absolutely.
They might be allergic to the gold, who knows? But it might be the other.
Could it be not the gold and the other metal?
Yeah.
Mix. Oh,
yeah. That's
can you choose that? Can you help with that?
Well, you could. I mean, you could find a brand that I guess that all depends. I mean, you could get your pieces tested and then you can find, what one works for you. You could maybe, if you're getting a custom piece, ask the jeweler, whoever's making it for that breakdown. Or maybe like even as like a branding, for a perspective, maybe a brand can only work with these specific metals with these specific breakdowns. And that may be, given an idea to someone out there right now.
Yeah.
Like this is our gold and this is the consistent breakdown each time. I don't think a lot of people think of that, but for the people that are highly allergic, it would be super important.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But we love gold. We love girls. We love jewelry. We love skate.
Yeah, absolutely. So you just got your candles tested, right? Or you're in the process?
Yes, we are literally in the process of getting different certificates when it comes to the hydration. We already tested. We have the organic, we have the all vegan, highlighted, ethically sourced, and the credibility. So, but it's nice to add that hydration and
element to it.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know this about me, but I used to have a food company a long time ago. And I actually had to go through the processes, the certification processes to be like vegan and organic, gluten-free. It's crazy though.
It's crazy when you own the little business.
Yeah.
That's true. But when you think about it, it's like I started this whole business because I wanted something better for myself and my child.
Right.
So if I love my kid, I want what's best for her or for him.
Right.
And then that's where it's all started. The whole process my business was based on love and motherhood.
Right.
So if I want something great and transparent when it comes to the ingredients, the efficiency, the stability, the safety, I don't want to go and get, I don't want to have asset like that.
Yeah, no. Absolutely.
So that's where
you want to take it into your own hands.
Exactly. So it was very important to have this lab testing, to have the best of the ingredients. Yeah, the best of the best.
Yeah,
for my kid and for me, of course.
Right.
And
right.
So,
Right.
So that's how.
No, for sure. Well, it's got to be that way, right? Because if you're taking care of her but not taking care of yourself, that's going to be challenging, right? Because then she's going to have to take care of you, and it's going to keep, you know what I mean? You're just flopping back and forth on it.
Exactly. So if it's good for my kid, if it's good for me, it's good for everybody.
Right.
So that was the whole intention when we started Metamorphose.
Right, right, absolutely. No, I think it's really awesome, and I felt the same, like, when I had the food company that, I wanted a clean product. We were doing baking mixes, and there's, all these dyes and all this stuff in it and all these unnecessary sugars and, oils, like, that are, the canola and all this other stuff, right? And I was just like, there's gotta be a better way. I mean, I make these at home for myself, but can I just, like, mass produce these, but still keep the integrity of the product? But learning all the certificates and everything was crazy, like, and just the
Even the
fees.
dye, you mentioning dye, the
Mm,
coloring, for example, that you,
right,
you can have plant-based coloring,
right,
which
right.
is all natural,
Mhm,
or you can get those, again,
mhm.
going back to synthetic
Yeah.
stuff, and it's dangerous.
Wild Out
No, no,
West.
well,
You don't even know.
yeah.
We don't know
But
what's
the good
happening.
but it always brings us to that there are people who own businesses
Mhm.
who have that integrity,
Right.
and the know-how, and they
Mhm.
care.
Absolutely.
And if you care, I think
It's huge.
that's the key and the answer
It's huge.
to looking at.
Yeah, yeah, and it brings, like, such awareness throughout the process, like, just even me, like, going through those steps when I had the food company, and now it kinda translates as well into the jewelry because.
The quality is incredible.
Yeah, thank you. Well, I'm aware, I'm aware that there could be bad, I'm aware that there could be better, I'm
Yes,
aware that there
yes.
could be, like, mediocre, and then,
I know.
like, to your point, I care, you care, so
Yes.
we're, like, that's translating in the product line,
Absolutely,
you know?
absolutely, yeah. I'm so
Yeah.
proud of us.
I know, me too. How fun.
Yes,
I
yes.
love it. Yeah, this was really cool. Really nice talking with you about
Thank
this.
you.
And I'm excited to talk more with you about, different topics.
Yes, yes. This is the
Absolutely.
beginning of something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
it will get better and better.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.